are using. Oops. Well, hello. How are you, Rob? I got you muted, so there you go.
Yeah, as soon as I figure it out, I'll mute myself.
Oh, I don't tell everybody's on. All right.
So I loved how you were on the airplane. You were talking to the flight attendant, have you ever heard of Plexus? Great. Good example.
Yeah. It just, I feel like I start getting bolder. And it's really bold with people I don't know. That's what I got to do is get bold. It's realizing it's easier to talk to someone I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they say, no, I've not heard of that, or if they're rude, I can go, yeah. It's something I do want to make a lot of money, but no, I don't want to talk to you about it. Yeah, stay sick. Yeah, there's definitely a boldness that I have found. So I'm going to move my...
Cynthia's coming on in a few minutes as soon as she... And probably Karen Hoagland, I guess.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
She's going like this, so I don't know what that means.
Where's the link? I'm looking for the link.
Where's the link?
It's
either in my...
It's on there. Let me mute myself and I'll talk her through it.
Okay.
Three 6470 is, could you announce yourself? I'm Abby, if you're just listening in. And so far we have Cynthia, Karen, Rob, and Wendy on the call.
Right. So if you'll, we'd love to know
who you are
on the phone. If you want to just type it in a message. So something that I'm going to recommend. All right. So I'm full screen so I can see all the faces. I love it. It is just like Brady Bunch. I love it. But if you go down to the bottom and you click on chat, you can open that and then move that over to the corner and you can type messages in there, and that way you can use the full screen option and you can type messages for us. All right, so we're going to go ahead and ask everybody to mute. Let's see, can I just mute everybody at one time? Yep. Okay, so everybody's muted except for myself, and then Abby, I want you unmuted also, just because I can. All right, so I wanted to just let you guys know, first of all, I'm really excited to see you. It's awesome to have a place where we can come, and we want to make sure that we're doing this and it's not, hours and hours long. Really, the purpose is for the new calls. We want to give you some product information. We want to give you best practices, and we also want to do, a couple of testimonies so that we can build belief. And I had this mental picture happen for me today about what Plexus products are like when you're taking them. And so here's my little story. It's going to get us started so that by the end, our goal is that you're going to walk away feeling like you have a better handle on the products and how to see your best results. I can remember when I was younger, my grandmother was teaching me how to make gravy from scratch. It was before McCormick's little packets. And she told me the story of how her first attempt when she was early married to my grandfather, and she was doing turkey, and she was going to make this gravy. And so she took all of the drippings and put them in a pan, and she started adding her little mix of flour and water and found out that it was too thick. So she needed more water. So she put in more water and it was too thin. So she added more flour and it was too thick. And then she added more water and it was too thin. And she ended up with 2 really big pots of gravy. It didn't have a whole lot of taste. And she learned that, okay, you're going to try this and that until finally you figure out the right mix. And I feel like that's what Plexus is for us, that, oftentimes we start everybody on Triplex because each of us on the call that have been on products for a while, we know the benefit of those 3. And so that is the cornerstone. Like we start with those three, but we're all different, and all of us have a different bacteria balance in our gut. Most of it is imbalanced. And so when we're saying to you, we want you to drink half of one to start, we want you to drink a whole one to start, we're not, prescribing something for you. We're not saying, okay, you're on penicillin, you're going to take one every 12 hours for the next 10 days. It is something that we want you to make the decision because you know your body best. And so that's what we want to do is we want to be able to say, we're going to recommend it this way to start. And if you have any kind of, if you have any kind of a symptom that's uncomfortable or something's happening, you change it. You either, back off, or you obviously want you to contact your ambassador right away and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Is this normal? What can I expect? But then it is kind of like making gravy. You're adding something and then taking away, and add something a little bit more and take away until you get that perfect mix. So that's my story to explain how we want to talk about these products. So I would love to hear, and I posted a challenge in my team page for storytelling. But if you're going to tell your testimony, we want it to be a good, 3 to 5 minute testimony when you're speaking, so that you're able to share that wherever and whenever. So I would love to get some time to have you guys practice with sharing. So, Cynthia, how are you feeling about sharing your testimony right now?
One thing I love about the testimonies is what you're going to find is they're so varied. People tend to think, oh, it's weight loss, or oh, it's somebody who has some horrible health condition, or it runs the gamut. So I love the testimonies, and Cynthia, I can't wait to hear yours again. I haven't heard it in a while.
Oh, okay. Now in this new rendition, we don't talk about specific naming of conditions.
Describe the symptoms. Don't name the diagnosis, unless it's most recently been in the literature as being clinical studies showing that we have it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, this has been, I'm going to have my 3rd year in August. So we're going back now 3 years. And I had some really leftover stuff that I was dealing with that I wrote.
From an insect that was okay.
From a little insect.
From an insect.
From a little insect.
Wreaked havoc on your life.
And it did. And although I had the appropriate prescription from the doctor, what was left over, it just felt like there was junk in all my joints. I have a numbness on one side, some real neuropathy from my shoulders down to my toes. And so I found myself thinking, okay, this is probably the best it's going to be now, because you're aging, my dear. There was a time where I really didn't, about 18 months where I didn't play piano because it just hurt so much. So I wasn't even really able to do the things that I love to do. And I was generally weak, generally tired. The weight had come on and on and on and on a little bit every year until I thought, this is just kind of the way it is. I guess this is old age,
Well, it's a good thing you didn't live in Lyme, Connecticut, because apparently that's where they...
No, there's so much of it going on there.
A lot of that.
So I started to see on Facebook this little glimmer of hope. I was hearing it from Wendy. I was seeing it on Abby. And, of course, I didn't know who Angela was, but I've seen a little bit there, that there was this pink drink that was able to do things like control cravings and balance blood sugars, and cravings were a big issue. And if I ate any meal, I would fall asleep. It was just sort of cause and effect. And so when I would snack, or when I'd have lunch or whatever, I'd make sure I was sitting in a wing chair. So I was going to fall asleep. I didn't want to fall on the floor. I'd just fall sideways into the wing chair. It was that kind of craziness, but it was like, well, I guess that's just how it is. But something, and I know exactly who it was just sort of telling me, this is really hope. There's hope out there. Why don't you just try it? I don't remember being motivated by 60-day. No, it was just because I jumped in and I called Abby and I said, look, I'm going to sign up as an ambassador. I need your number. I guess I need your number in order to sign up. What's your number? And that's how it started. And I figured if this does what it says it'll do, I am in this. This is like fountain of youth time. If it will do that for me and shut down the cravings and stop the little voices that are always constantly planning, what are you going to eat next? What? You haven't had pizza in a while. Maybe you want pizza. Maybe you want, constant, like squirrel cage. If it would stop that, I was in, and I was in it as a business, and I would spread that word because that would be a miracle. And I'm one of those people where the original Slim now, when I got it and started it, it was effective almost immediately. Within 24 hours, 36 hours, the squirrel cage shut down, and it was silent. And it was so beautiful to have that psychological silence that I was totally caught. I found that the cravings went away. I could walk by, church, there it is, spread out after church, where 2 or 3 are gathered, they bake. They brought it all in, and I'm able to look at it and go, that looks really good, but not really worth it. No, it's okay. I think I'll just have a cup of something else. And that was just amazing, amazing relief. The other thing I noticed is that alpha lipoic acid, I think that's the name of it, right? Has some properties to it that kind of lessen pain. I just felt like I felt less arthritic. I was moving a little easier. Downstream, I added some more products because I started with the triplex, and I added the ProBio and the BioCleanse, and then eventually added Ease and Nerve. And then life really transformed because I didn't even realize I had issues with yeast, but I did, because all of a sudden, the seasons changed, and I didn't have a lot of sinus headaches. I wasn't sensitive to the mold in the air and the leaf mold and the cats. And I realized what I thought I had systemically, part of me, were these allergies, and then they were gone. So
that's awesome.
It was the yeast leaving. And then the Nerve did so much that, I had this uneven gait and a lot of pain on one side, and all of a sudden I wasn't walking like a sailor anymore. Just got off the boat. I was walking evenly and, less pain, things were moving. I was able to function, and I just felt like I was losing some weight, which was wonderful. At this point, it's probably close to 60 pounds. Yeah, but in 3 years, but I didn't diet either. It wasn't, and I'm hardly a runner. So we're talking about it coming off slowly, but that was fine because I felt so much better that I got the courage to just go, that scale says that, but my pants say this. And so I was able to just go by how the clothes fit. And that was good enough because I felt so darn good.
That's
and
awesome.
I feel better now probably than 20 years ago.
Now I want
to
ask you, I know that you just went through the whole chemo deal, and I'm wondering how you feel you handled that differently than had you not been on Plexus.
There was enough residual product in my body to make even they had me go off of everything. And I wanted to be obedient because if something didn't work, I didn't want it to be because I did something wrong. So right. They said, we want you off everything. I went off everything. Still, they kept saying, every week the blood work, and they go, wow, that's really good blood work, or they take my blood pressure, which had been high, and they go, yeah, that's really good blood pressure. And I go, well, yeah. I miss my products. It was November, December, January, and then by February, they gave me the green light to go back on them. And by then I had been through the worst of it. I'd never been so low in my life. I'd never been so tired. I'd never been so far down. Believe me, if I didn't have family around me, I wouldn't have survived because I couldn't even feed myself or fill the bag for food because I had a stomach thing going on, or fill the bag for water. It was that far down. But I knew, I really did have that faith that if I could just get back on the products, I'd begin to get my energy back. And they finally green-lighted it. I just started with the Slim. I replicated how I had started it, umpty years ago, 2.5 years ago. Started slow. But then came the comments, I can't believe how fast you're bouncing back. Every doctor, every nurse. Gee, you're looking fabulous. What are you doing? You know, what?
I can confirm, yeah, absolutely. They were
They were
shocked
stunned.
at how fast she was bouncing back.
Yeah.
So,
And
excellent.
we met with a group, sort of a self-help group, and she was by far the most recovered.
Yeah. So that cancer support group, now I've gotten all their emails. And since they've seen me, they've met me, some of them saw me 3 months before that, so they can see a real difference. So it's like, this is my new camp. This
Yeah,
is part of the new tribe.
We absolutely are not telling anybody that this is curing, diagnosing,
Not at all.
treating. But when your body is given what it needs to have a stronger immune system and a stronger, the ability to come back and have energy, wow. So I am so.
That was huge. That was huge. And, I had this whole lymphedema thing where it just swole up. I looked like I was ready for Thanksgiving. Gobble, 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 gobble. And they were talking about steroids. And I was like, I really don't think I want steroids. I've got these other products I can try, I can add back in, and so I started back on Ease, natural anti-inflammatory, right? All of a sudden it occurred to me, you got this right in front of you, right by your computer. Take that, put that back in. And just within a couple of weeks, swelling began to go down. When I went back to the doctor, I said, okay, if you think I ought to do steroids, a short. He goes, no. You're right. It's more trouble than it's worth. Just do what you're doing.
Fabulous.
Just do what you're doing. And that has helped. And I've been handing out samples to the physical therapist because she's just amazed at this product, at what it does to reduce the swelling.
And I'll tell you that this is why these testimonies and stories are so important, because no matter what anybody thinks they know about ingredients, or if we hear or we read something, and that's the worst part, is that there are the negative comments and negative posts on Google because somebody's trying to sell a different product. Knowing all of the ingredients will help me. Hearing a story and seeing someone firsthand, that's what sells me. That's the thing that makes me believe completely.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. This is going to be awesome. I'm glad that it's recording. Let's get one more, and then we will just make sure that we've talked about, make sure we get the best use on that. So, all right. Spin the wheel.
I think Karen's volunteering. I think I see her waving.
Yes, Karen's waving.
She is. I see her. See, look, she's waving.
I know. And Karen, there is a reason why we have a team under you that has grown, and it was because they saw something, not that you were out there selling something. So would you share with us?
Oh, unmute.
See how I did that? You see,
unmute.
I have to unmute her.
Thank you. Because if I do it myself,
she's like, I'm trying to say it.
I'm trying.
I'll disappear.
Yep.
And then you'll think, wow, she didn't really want to talk because she just disappeared again. So
Yep. Here she is. Okay.
well, I have multiple areas that the Plexus has helped me in. And I'm like doing a little revisit with one of them right now. I just pulled my back out about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, changing a baby diaper, one of my grandbaby's diapers. She was wiggling like a whirling dervish and got poop from her ankle all the way up to her rib cage. And for me, my tender spot is bending and reaching. And so I'm wrestling her on the couch, bending and reaching, and I felt the disc in my back give. I felt the give. And I haven't felt that in a while, but I've been moving. I've been, clearing out a room, doing all this physical stuff. I've been doing a lot of physical stuff this past month, making room for some kids to come back to the house while they work on getting their house ready. And so I'm kind of like reliving that pain and stiffness, the feeling like your feet are stuck in molasses trying to move, ankles, sharp pain down around my ankles, that's just reference pain. And I'm reliving that. And this weekend I had actually was so busy I forgot to take my Nerve and my Ease. So this morning I didn't want to get out of bed. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is where I was, you know, when Cynthia sent me a message. Hey, Karen, you know, this is where I was. And I haven't felt like this in 2.5 years. And that's what my friends saw, because, you know, Karen used to walk around like Tim Conway. You know, when he would do the old man on the Carol Burnett show, and, you know, and I'm trying to get the people, and, you know, so that was me, and that's what they were used to seeing. You know, hey, Karen, can you do this? No, I can't because of my back. And all of a sudden, you know, it was just changing. Karen was different. Karen was smiling. Karen wasn't irritable all the time. You know, because I wasn't constantly having all this going on in my body. I wasn't feeling like my feet were stuck in molasses. You know, that's kind of frustrating. You know, that I would even dream. I would dream that I would try to run, but I couldn't because I was stuck in molasses. That's how much this was a part of my life. And it had been all the way back till I was 15 since this first started. So I'll be 54 in 2 weeks. So this has been a very long part of my life. And so my friends, you know, that see me all the time, they were like, hey, this girl's, she's getting around, you know? She's getting stuff done. She's happy. She's smiling. She's not grumpy. And of course they asked, I'm like, well, yeah, you know, this is what I'm doing. And it's the same products with Cynthia, that ease with the turmeric, the serapeptase, the bromelain, and the New Zealand green lip mussel, that naturally, without harmful effects on my body, you know, are reducing that inflammation and freeing up my body without taking other medicines that are available that are more damaging to my body. So I don't have to lean towards the damaging. I can take something that's much more natural and my body is much happier with. So that's like the biggest one that that my friends saw, and it's one of many because I have some other issues, you know, that it's totally changed my life. You know, I don't ever want to go back, even though I may get busy and forget to take. It's still right in my cupboard, and I take it. I even bought this big old stick shift bus that there's no way that I could have driven before Plexus.
That's awesome.
Because I couldn't get that left leg. I couldn't have operated the clutch. There's no way.
Oh my goodness, I love hearing that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
So I was able to get that stick shift. Thank you to Plexus. So.
That is awesome. One of the things that I wanted to share that I heard, I read it today. So I'm not going to do my whole testimony other than to say 3 years ago, I had a blood sugar level that was in a range that they considered, I'm going to say, it's pre-diabetic. And they said, okay, your blood sugar numbers are high. They're going up. You need to bring them down. You're going to be medicated for it. And so 3 years later, I'm taking the products. I'm on the Triplex. I'm on Mega X, which really helped because of the omega-3. I take Ease, and I also take our X Factor Plus. And my blood sugars are normal. Like, not even just, okay, wow, you've done well. They are completely normal. And so that's been really exciting. One of the other things is that the medication that I was taking for the last 11 years to keep me happy and nice to my family, I don't need them anymore. And so I've been trying to get off of this medication. It's called Lexapro. And so that is what I was understanding, is these antidepressants and anti-anxieties actually mess with your brain impulses because they're doing something to change the way you think. Well, since I've been weaning off of them, it's horrible. The withdrawal is horrible. And the doctor never told me. They said, oh, side effects, dry mouth, you might have some trouble sleeping, it might make you tired. I mean, they have all these side effects, but they never say, wow, when you're ready to get off of it, you won't, because you're a prisoner to the side effects. And the withdrawal symptom that I have, now I've heard others where they get nauseous, headache, that kind of, mine is a pulse. And it is a pulse that starts in my chest and goes up into my head. It's a very strange thing. And if you don't know what it is, you're wondering, is that a heart attack starting? What is it? The only way to describe it, I heard, as a matter of fact, I read that a guy described it and said, if you've ever been seriously embarrassed, like that moment where you may as well have walked out with no pants on and you just get that, it's a quick flush. That's what it feels like. And someone said, because I posted this and asked the question about it, and said, you need to get off of these. Find an alternative. If it's not Plexus, fine, but find an alternative, because this is wicked. And they don't tell you about it. And someone said that a lot of the military, they are putting them on these medications to basically give them, it's almost to put them on edge so that they are able to be alert and awake while they're on their, like on their missions. And then trying to come off of them, they pull that medication off and they go into PTSD because they're no longer having that control. And they said that if I were to take nerve, so that's going to be the thing that I'm going to be taking, is that nerve support, because that will help with some of the nerve impulses that were being messed with. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll let you guys know how that works. So thank you guys very much for sharing. And I'm sure it wasn't, okay, you read the bottle, you take it just like you see it, and everything works well, right? So we're all in agreement that you have to try. What works for one might not work for another. So Abby, what can you tell us as far as if we're going to get best practices? Let's start with just triplex. We'll hit that. And then anybody has questions, we can get those and post them later, but we want to, definitely keep this short. So
yeah, and absolutely what you were saying about one size fits all, you definitely have to keep that in mind, and you have to understand that you can sometimes feel a little bit worse before you feel better, and that's absolutely, you read anything plexus, non-plexus, about really overhauling your body, getting rid of toxins, getting rid of yeast. That's just a general fact of it. It's not a plexus thing. That's one thing that really helped me when I first started, was just seeing that this was actually a lot less awful than some of the other detox and getting rid of yeast things that were out there, where you're eating 50 different weird foods and not doing this and not doing that. So understanding that that's part of it and going into it eyes wide open and committing. I know for myself, I committed to 90 to 6 months. 90 days, 6 to 6 months is kind of where I had in my head. And I got to that 90 days and I wasn't feeling that great in some areas. And I said, I'm going to keep on going because I committed to do this. And I'm so glad that I did 3 years later. So starting off, we definitely start you slow. We start you one product at a time. It's not you get it in the package in the mail and you start everything that night. Hey, it's what it said on the bottle. No, please don't do that. What we typically have you do is we start with you with just the Slim. Now this is typically, talk with your ambassador. If you have some other issues going on, they might give you a different route to take. But for most people, they start with the Slim. Depending on how much yeast you already have in your body, and hopefully you filled out the gut health questionnaire in our health and happiness tribe customer support page. It's the first, I believe it's the first or second document there. If you have a lot of yeast issues, we might start you on just a half a pack of Slim and have you do that for a few days and see how you're feeling. If you're not dealing with a lot of yeast issues, we might have you go ahead and start with one. That's something to have a conversation with your ambassador about. Do Slim for just a few days. If everything's going well, you're feeling okay, we're going to then add BioCleanse in. We're going to start with one. We're going to have you probably do it in the morning with your Slim. First thing in the morning, get it out the way. Next day, we might have you do that again in the morning and then again at night. If you're doing okay, we might have you add the ProBio in that very next day, usually like the 4th or 5th day. If you're not going to the bathroom though, we're not going to be like, you're not starting ProBio yet. If you're not cleansing and getting everything already out of you, we're not going to add anything else into your body that could possibly be doing any changes whatsoever. So that's where you're having that conversation with your ambassador every single day for that first week or two. Of, yeah, I am going to the bathroom. And yeah, is it fun to talk about your bathroom habits? No, it's not. But it's necessary because that's giving us a clue as to how you're doing. If you're saying, I'm feeling more tired, or if you're saying, I'm super energetic, I'm feeling great, I'm craving water. Those are all things your ambassador needs to know about. And then after, depending on how many yeast issues you have, we might have you stay at 1 ProBio for a little while. Most people eventually get up to 4 ProBio. And that could be anywhere within a month and a half period. It could be a 3 or a 6 month period. It could be a 1 month period. It just depends. Probably not a 1 month, maybe like a 1 month, 1.5 months. BioCleanse. Most people take between 4 and 6 of those every day. Most people do it in 2 sessions, in the morning and at night, or in the afternoon and before bed. In the bathroom? Oh. Where's the hairbrush? What was I going to say? But it's usually in 2 sessions. The idea is you don't want to take it with your food. Can you play with those times? Absolutely. Can you find what works with your schedule? Yes. If that schedule doesn't work for you, you talk to your ambassador and we're going to come up with a schedule that's going to work for you. I know for me, when I first started Plexus, I was working. Plexus has retired me. I have a little more freedom throughout the day now of when I can take my products. When I was working, it was twice a day or it wasn't going to happen. And then for X Factor, a lot of people start with X Factor as well. X Factor Plus, it's our supercharged multivitamin, has aloe in it, increases the absorbency of the nutrients by about 300%. Most people take that with food in the morning, or they might split it up and take one with breakfast, one with lunch. Do we ever have you start again all at once? No. So if you get all 4 of those in the mail, you're not going to start all at once. We might add in that X Factor on that 3rd or 4th day, because we want to know, okay, if you're having this change, what it could be attributed to. And like I said, even if you're having a change where all of a sudden you're going to the bathroom more or less, or feeling this craving or not feeling this craving, it means there's something happening in your body, and that's a good thing. Just because something's happening doesn't mean that it's bad. But we want to know, okay, they're more sensitive to this, or they might need a little bit more of this, or a little bit less of that, and we play with it a lot with you. That's one of the reasons that we ask that you be put into a group message with your sponsor and myself or Wendy or both of us, or if Karen, is your closer upline, or Cynthia, whomever, so that we can be walking through with you on that as well, and just really making sure that you have the support that you need. Bottom line with all of it is the way you take the products is fairly flexible. For most people, we can find a really sweet spot for you if you work with us. If you bail and you say, oh, this is too hard, we can't help you. But it could be, we add this, we switch this out, we do a little bit more of this, a little bit less of that, and we're going to find a really good place for you. And it may or may not happen immediately. With Wendy, it didn't happen until she was almost 2 months into it. She thought nothing was happening in her body. And I mean, it's just laughable now how much was happening in her body. 25 pounds weight loss, all of her, her sugar's perfect, her blood pressure improved, her cholesterol improved, her joint pain improved. I mean, it's laughable that she wasn't experiencing it. Her sleep improved, her energy improved, her mood improved, all of these things. She didn't see it until about 2 months. So just be patient. Please keep in contact with your ambassador. We are here to help you. We're not trying to nag you. We just, we ask you questions, please answer them. We ask how you're doing. Don't say fine. We need to know how you are. Don't be the teenage boy when you say, how was school? Fine. Give us some details. Yeah, so with that, we're just going to transition. We always, at this point of the call, invite you, if you were just here for the products, we invite you to take a little evaluation. Number one, Wendy, is you're just interested in the products. Number 2 is you might be interested in possibly getting those products paid for each month. Free is always better than paying money.
Right.
And if you're a 3, it would be that you're, hey, well, not only do I want to get my products paid for, I would like to be like that girl, Abby, who just said she retired when she was 40. Yeah, let's go for that one. So at this point, we would always say, we say to everybody, if you're just a 1 and you just want to hear the product information, hear some testimonies, and hear about how it's helped other people, we invite you to hop off the call now. If you're a 2 or a 3, this is the part of the call where we'll share a little bit more information about how to get your products paid for each month. So with that, I just wanted to share really quickly, how did I retire at age 40? I talked to people, and I found people that Plexus could help. Cynthia was one of them. She saw my post on Facebook. Cynthia, I think you were my 3rd ambassador to join my team. And Cynthia is in her retirement years and is doing fantastic. She still has some jobs that she loves to do and will do till she dies. She's a great director and she's into musical theater and so forth. But right now, it's really helped her through the extra income, and it's been something that looking forward to many, many more years of residual income coming through for her. So I talked to people and shared on Facebook. I reached out to people who might have needed the products. Cynthia reached out to Karen. She knew Karen needed the products, and she said, hey, girl, I feel terrible not telling you this. And Karen said, well, I guess tell me a little bit more. I am kind of stuck in molasses. I could use some help. Was it advertising? Was Cynthia going out and advertising and holding up big old billboards? No, she wasn't. She was reaching out to her friends and just sharing with them. I saw Wendy post on Facebook. It's kind of funny that those of us that are on this call right now, I saw Wendy post on Facebook about how she was feeling so much better, and I said, what are you doing? Can you please tell me, because I feel terrible. So basically it's sharing either on social media or face-to-face, or calling or messaging someone that you think could benefit from the products of the business, and that's it. And whether you do it and have 3 customers and maybe 3 people that join your team and covers your products on that scale, or you say, I want to go, I like that whole idea of having time freedom and being able to be home with my kids or be able to travel or not have to take leave. It's basically doing the same thing, just on a bit larger scale and putting a little bit more time and energy into it. Some common objections I hear from people is, I don't have the time and I don't know what you know, so how could I tell people about this? Good news is you really don't have to know anything, because I know a lot. I've been with the company for 3 years. I've learned a lot. Wendy knows a lot. The person who invited you might know a lot too. So simply what you would do is you're going to just connect those people that you think the products or the business could help with your sponsor. And you might throw me in a message with you as well. And then we share the information and you're just listening. You just have popped somebody in and said, hey, this is my friend Abby. This is my friend Karen. They've had really good results with the products. Can they share a little bit more with you about it? We share our story. You share your story. And we have that conversation. You're learning about the products. You're learning about how they can help. And the person is learning about it as well. And then they go, oh my gosh, that sounds like an amazing thing that would be able to help me with, X, Y, and Z. How do I join? And then we walk them through that process. And all you've really done is be a connector and kind of be a bystander in the process. And then even the follow-up, what we're doing here and teaching you about how to take your products, we would do the same with them. In a group message, we'd simply say, okay, it's day 1. Here's what's going on. How's it going? How are you feeling? Okay, day 2, let's do this. We're going to walk you through that the same way we'll walk them through it as well. So we're very supportive of this team. We have a good proven system and support to help you be successful. If you want a larger scale, we work with you and help you just approach it with a little bit more, how would you say? It's the same things, but just a little bit more time and energy. Is it a ton of time and energy? No. Single mom, teacher, broke when I started Plexus. I did not have extra time. I was tutoring. I was doing everything I could just to make ends meet. I didn't even have a car when I started Plexus because mine had broken down and I couldn't get it fixed. It didn't take a ton of time. It was 20 minutes most days, 10 minutes, 5 minutes on some days that all I had time to do was make a Facebook post and follow up with somebody. I did it from my phone. My phone is my office. I would say 95% of what I did was from my phone, and it was 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. It'd be me in the car making a quick phone call or listening to a training video. It would, as a teacher, during my lunch period or my planning period, take 5 minutes to answer a message or make a connection. Just talking to people in my day-to-day life of things that I was doing anyhow. I was, in my neighborhood or with friends or with my kids' connections. Just things that I was naturally doing is how you do it. It wasn't like now I'm going to get a part-time job and it's going to be 20 hours a week. And it's going to be 3 nights a week plus a Saturday. It wasn't that kind of thing because I couldn't have done that. I would have had to pay for childcare. And a lot of people don't have that extra time. So if that's a concern for you, please don't hesitate to talk with us and we can kind of walk through with you some different scenarios. If you're already having a successful business yourself and you're very busy with that, it could definitely fit into those sorts of things. But have a conversation with us. Don't say no to something if you haven't heard what it might be able to do for you. How it might
share something really quickly. I know that a lot of people, they're concerned about, well, I wouldn't even know what to say. I wouldn't know how to start a conversation. Don't let that be something that stops you, because the way I imagine this is that I've always been the one, someone's, man, I just, my vet is so expensive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you should try this vet. I never worry that someone's going to think badly because I've sent them to a vet, or I've sent them to a particular doctor or a dentist. Or when I say, you know what, don't go to that restaurant. It is so slow. The food was bad. The service was horrible. Do not even go. So we talk constantly anyway, either selling people to go do something or to not do something. If someone was standing next to me and they had a cut and were bleeding and said, man, I wish I had a Band-Aid, I would absolutely hand them a Band-Aid. I would say, wow, look at, I have one. Do you want mine? I wouldn't say, gosh, I wonder if they're going to think badly if my Band-Aid has a Spider-Man on it. Gosh, I think, it's not something that they're used to seeing. They probably, people are looking for hope. And so if they feel like, they're walking in molasses, or that they can't continue playing piano or something because of this issue, you may have what they need. And guess what? They're not going to yell at you for saying, hey, I have a Band-Aid. Would you like to use this one? If they say no, okay, thanks. I'll save it for the next person. So you just want to keep an open mind about this. We're not offering something illegal. We're not offering them something that's dangerous or damaging. We're offering something that really, really makes a difference in lives. And so when you think of it that way, it kind of takes away the, well, who would I tell? Gosh, there are so many people that have stories of a life that's changing, and wow, they hate getting old. And now we have something that can help them feel better. So,
yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And, like I said, if you have questions, if there's things that are concerned, if there's something that sparked your interest, just talk with us about it. We're not pushy, salesy, you need to do this. I mean, if something doesn't work, if you're like, oh, this is probably not the best for me after we have a conversation, this might not be the best for you. It might not be the best timing. I've had people that come back 2 years later. I've talked to them 2 years ago, and they come back now, they're like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, great. And then they go, why did I wait so long? But that's besides the point. We won't judge you. But just be open to the conversation. And if it's something that you're really excited about and you're like, you know what, I really would love to make an extra $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 a month, this is definitely the place to be. Our compensation plan is second to none, and we can show that to you in writing, in black and white. It's no hoops to jump. It's just right there. And we're living proof, even just the people on this call, of how financially Plexus can really change your life and change lots of other lives as well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we hope you all have a wonderful, safe 4th of July.
yeah.
And we will talk to you again next week. Same time, same place.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.